As we're talking about systems in early care and education, before we create systems, we should do what they call SWOT analysis. And so, with the programs that we're going to be looking at, we're going to be doing SWOT analysis on technology. So that's what we want to talk about right now, is using technology in early care and education. So one of the things that we had discussed before was what early childhood systems benefit from using technology and why. And so, like I mentioned before, that on the discussion board, we'll be completing SWOT analysis on different software that is advertised to help early care and education programs. So, what are some of the concerns that administrators have about using technology in early childhood systems? Now, that is one of the questions you are going to be asked to answer after listening to this presentation. So, I'll repeat that again. What are some of the concerns do administrators have about using technology in early childhood programs? So when we're talking about concerns, first of all, we need to give some guidelines. So first, we need to have balance. Technology should be no more or less important than other tools. We must not become dependent on any one tool, and especially with technology. Another guideline regarding technology is that it should be incorporated into the systems and used when it can make outputs more efficient. That's something that we talked about at the beginning of the course with outputs and inputs and things like that. Then it should also be interactive. Technology should support co-engagement with others and be used within the context of relationships with other stakeholders. And if you recall, the stakeholders are family members, the staff, and community members. And there's a lot more stakeholders, but for this one, it should be used within the context of the relationships with those that I just mentioned. Then technology should also be developmentally appropriate. It should only be used in ways that's developmentally appropriate for children, and it should enhance their growth and development as well as creative thinking. I know there's a lot of research out there talking about screen time, and there's a lot of things that can also be learned when they are using the different tools. But going back to what we said, there needs to be balance. Then, what is our role as administrators or as directors? So number one, we need to provide equitable access to both parents and children. And sometimes we offer certain things to the children, but the parents should be able to know how to use the different tools that they use as well. And then, like I mentioned before, we need to analyze to determine the risks and the limitations. And that's when we complete what they call the SWOT analysis. And also, as administrators, we need to be knowledgeable enough about new technology to be able to research and evaluate how and when to use technology intentionally and appropriately. Because whether we like it or not, this is the day and age when technology is all over the place, and I know I, for one, do not want to be left behind. And another thing is, like I said, to be knowledgeable, but I'm going to give a list of different tools that people use, and one would be digital cameras, recorders, tablets, smart boards, televisions. Those are different types of technology. Now, some of those you might say are already outdated, and they may be, and some of you might be using something that's way more advanced. So that's another question I want to have you answer. I would like you to name perhaps 4 or 5 different types of technologies, whether you're using them in your program or not, So the ones I named was digital cameras, recorders, tablets, smart boards, and televisions. But I would like you to name 4 or 5 different technologies that people either are using in their programs or can use in their programs. And so if you're using them, fine. If you're not, but then also write about what those different technologies are used for and why they would benefit programs. And so just a reminder again that there needs to be balance when using technologies, different types of technology in our programs.